Hello, gorgeous souls. Welcome back. Today we're taking a look at the nodal axes, which is shifting from Pisces and Virgo into Aquarius and Leo on July the 26th. And the last time we saw the nodes in this location was December 2007 to August 2009. So it is also closing out a 19-year chapter and wrapping up a smaller cycle within that for the last year and a half, where we've had the nodes in Pisces and Virgo. So, in the birth chart, in astrology in general, I see the nodal axes as one of the most significant placements. In your personal birth chart, the North Node is your guide this lifetime for how your soul is wanting to evolve and grow. The South Node will point to your natural gifts and talents that you bring in. So we don't disregard the South Node. It's actually really significant. It's traits that we have mastered to a certain level, but it can also point to the shadow. It can point to a level of comfort. It's not where our soul is leaning into this lifetime. And collectively, when we see the nodes of destiny shifting, we know that we're changing our focus as a society. And the comfort may still be to fall back into those traits of the South Node, where we are used to being, but the North Node is calling us into a new way of life. And when we see this collective shift of the nodes, it is still extremely significant for you on a personal level as well, because in an area in your birth chart, the North Node is now taking up a new house placement. So a new area of your life is in focus. And the South Node shows a significant area as well. It's an area where you're going to be releasing. Something needs to be let go in order to support the expansion that your soul is now wanting to step into. So I'm going to share my screen here and we can take a closer look at this. So I have set this chart up for July the 27th, so the day after we see the nodes changing signs, and the nodes move in reverse. So we have the North Node here at 29 degrees of Aquarius. And because these are mathematical points, we know the South Node is directly opposite. So it's going to be at that end degree of Leo, that exactly opposite that 29-degree mark of Leo. Now, before we really look at the significance of these new energies, the direction it's taking us in over the next 18 months, I do want to bring some attention to the Pisces-Virgo axes, because again, that's another chapter that we're wrapping up. And you may even be watching this video. I'm releasing it before the nodes change signs. So it can be really helpful to see at the, very ending degree before they're ready to shift what we are being invited into with the North Node wrapping up in Pisces and moving to Aquarius. So the very end of this shift, which again would actually happen at the very beginning of that zodiac sign, but the ending of that shift before it moves into Aquarius with the North Node in Pisces, we have been initiated into deeper levels of trust and faith in the universe. And you may have found, if you look over your life over these past 18 months, that you may have been tested with different things. Maybe for some people, this came up in the financial area, in the area of your career, your business, your work in the world, in your relationships. And again, this is where your personal chart becomes so important as part of the bigger picture. But guarantee there was an area where you were initiated into greater faith, not knowing the how, not knowing if the pieces were going to come together, not being able to logically figure it all out. But the invitation there was, can you trust anyway? That's what the Piscean energy teaches us. Can we trust even when we don't see the path and we don't see the how? So now, as the nodal axes change, we don't disregard that lesson. That's, a big one throughout our human journey that we're going to revisit again and again anyway. But we take that with us. The ideal is we have a newfound level of faith in a greater power working through us when our mind doesn't know the how. Because the Virgo energy here, what we have been releasing is the need to control, over plan, know all the details, work ourselves to exhaustion. That's the other part of it, the need to work, and instead opening up to more being, which is very much a Piscean theme. Now, with the shift of the nodes coming into Aquarius, the North Node is what we're leaning into right now in the Aquarian traits. And then the South Node in Leo points to what we are letting go. So I would grab your birth chart and see where that 29 degrees, those, of course, it's going to move throughout the course of the 18 months throughout each of the degrees of Aquarius. But beginning with that final degree, what house does it land in? This is an area you are being called into greater growth and expansion. So, if we look at the Aquarian traits, this actually is the sign of the astrologer. So, it's been really interesting to see astrology on the rise since we've had the addition of Pluto moving into Aquarius as well, where astrology has become more mainstream. More people have been drawn to the study of astrology, and that's not going anywhere, even well beyond this nodal shift. While we have Pluto moving through Aquarius, I see that being on the rise more and more, and people understanding the depths of astrology. Like I remember in the early days, and of course, this wouldn't hold true for astrologers who were really studying this, but just the way it was presented in the mainstream, it was just so focused on the sun sign. It was so minimized. And now, so many people, it's like they know their chart, they know these placements, they know well beyond just their zodiac sign, or they really appreciate the depth and guidance that it brings, and they understand that the sun is just like one small part of a much, much larger picture. So the deeper understanding of astrology. Now, Aquarian energy also represents the unconventional. So, really celebrating that about yourself. I pretty much guarantee if you're here, you're probably drawn to the unconventional in some way. This is a part of your work, maybe not the mainstream professions or even just the your way of showing up in the world is unique and different. And the North Node in Aquarius is about celebrating our individuality and what makes us unique. And at the same time, of course, it is the sign of community and groups. So, with this shift, we're absolutely seeing a focus toward more unity consciousness, a more global focus, and a deeper understanding that we do not exist in isolation. It's that energy of power to the people. How you show up matters, your energy, your frequency. Aquarius is the sign of frequency. So energy healings can really take off at this time as well, like our understanding of energy being at the core of everything we create, a newfound understanding and appreciation of the power of frequency. How you show up matters and it contributes to the greater whole. And Aquarius really teaches us that and embodies that. And at the same time, it brings in that understanding of embrace what makes you unique, embrace what is unconventional, because we're going to be going in that direction anyway. Now, we also see the rise of AI with this energy too, really rapidly taking off. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, so we're going to take a look at that energy as well. Uranus currently in Gemini. So definitely AI advances, and I would really say be aware of how you are engaging with AI at this time, making sure that you're using it with a high degree of consciousness and intentionality, because we already know it's shaping the planet, reshaping the planet, reshaping how we communicate with one another, what is possible for us, and it's not about it being good or bad or right or wrong. It's like, how do we use it? What's the consciousness we approach it from? That's what matters. So a high degree of consciousness is really important here. We have to be aware of that. Now, opposite Aquarius is the Leo energy. And because we have the South Node here, it points to traits we are releasing that often would interconnect with the shadow side of Leo. So, this can be where the ego takes over and dominates. This can even be on a larger scale where we have a few people that we see at the top or leading. And Aquarius is about we come together, we each share our unique gifts, we each have something to contribute to where we are going. It's not just about a few people having all the money or being in positions of power or being idolized. It's about community, it's about recognizing what we each have have to contribute to the planet. So, with this energy, it can also be about releasing ego-based goals and success. And I don't like to, even though it may sound like it here, put down the ego or what it means to be human. We really get to celebrate our desires. Being in this human body is such a gift. So to clarify, when I say those ego-based goals, it's not what really lights us up. It's not what we actually want. It's often coming from conditioning, or especially with the Leo energy, it could be coming from this idea that I'll be worthy when. So we're attaching our worth and value to external results, or we're wanting to have a level of success or money in our career because we think that gives us approval or worthiness. Like all of that is rapidly crumbling for people right now. And they're coming back to like, what actually matters here? My true expression in the world, knowing that I am innately valuable. So in many ways, we're showing up in more action and we're contributing more. But when it's not coming from this needy space of I need to prove my value and worth and all these things that require inner healing and aren't going to come from how we show up externally, the rewards, the success we have, it's like we're reimagining that and we're coming back to our core truth more than ever before. Now, it is interesting that we have Jupiter also moving through Leo for the next year. Now, it's going to be until the end of that Jupiter cycle, few degrees away, quite a few degrees away from the South Node, but it's still significant that Leo is really in the spotlight now. So I would absolutely see what area of your chart that is ruling, and the Sun and Jupiter may be following in one house and the South Node may be falling in the next, just where they are degrees apart at this time before, of course, coming together as both continue their orbit. So as I record this, the Sun also in Leo. So there is something here about returning to your authentic expression, allowing yourself to shine, looking at where you've held back, you've played small, you've minimized your worth and value. And it's like we're stepping into that highest octave expression of Leo, but the longer cycle is with the South Node there, we're becoming aware of what we need to release and let go of. So this can also be performance. Like I need to put on a show, I need to perform instead of authentic, genuine expression. Now, if we take this a little deeper, I want to look at the sign that Uranus is in. So I mentioned this briefly since it is the ruler of our new North Node. It's becoming very significant right now. And Uranus just on its own is in a very significant placement here in the sign of Gemini. And Uranus is that electric energy, it is the disruptor. And we see that embodied in a lot of the Aquarian traits as well, where it's not interested in maintaining the status quo. So we've been in a phase where a lot of old systems, the old way of doing business, rapidly crumbling. And this can bring fear for a lot of people because it's leading to change. It's leading to change in the job market, to how we relate to money. But coming in with this energy is something new, the disruption. We're disrupting the status quo, but we need hope, and we need to know we need more than hope. I mean, hope is a necessary thing, but ideally we have certainty and a knowingness that it's going somewhere beautiful, it's going somewhere new, it's going somewhere that's better than where we have been. That's the idea with this world. We want to continue evolving and growing. So Uranus in Gemini continues to bring the focus to changing the way we interact with one another in communication. So again, we see AI being of huge importance here. No question, it's going to advance and improve extremely quickly. Now, I also see Uranus and Gemini just more generally influencing the way we communicate with one another. So telepathy on the rise, the new souls that are being born into the planet right now, naturally having these gifts and abilities and able to communicate and connect with one another in new ways, and just holding these new societal values, which is such a beautiful thing, that are more community oriented, more focused on nurturing this planet and understanding that yes, we all come in with a different soul purpose and a different soul path and a different level of consciousness. Welcome to the earth plane. That's part of it. We're all here at this time for a reason. So we are co-creating together and really understanding that and the role that each of us play. It's like the new souls really getting that. And of course, as we tap into that consciousness, each of us understanding that in a new and powerful way. So that aspect is really key here. And just something else outside of the nodes I want to point to, since I have the chart up, we're here chatting together. This would have been at play. So again, this chart is for July 27, 2026. Around the 18th to the 21st, we had the Barbo basket in effect. We're still, I would say, at this time feeling these energies, but it was more exact during that time frame. The outer planets at the 4 degree marks of their sign in air and fire. And another thing here, let me step back for a moment. The air and fire energies. So as we entered this year, it's been very fast paced. Also, the year of the fire horse. And it's not like that pace is slowing down. If anything, with the shift of the nodal axes now also in fire and air, it is speeding up. But we can feel like we're calibrated to it a little bit more. Speeding up does not mean we have to be overwhelmed, confused, in chaos. The shadow of that energy absolutely could leave us in overwhelm. We could be paralyzed by ideas. We could feel like the world's moving by and somehow we're left behind, or our nervous system is overwhelmed. And, if you're experiencing that, you're certainly not alone. And we can all kind of dip in and out of that. We may feel that, and then the next day feel the momentum. So, taking care of your nervous system, drawing on tools that really help relax your body. Like, I love doing EFT tapping with my clients. It's one of the earliest energy techniques that I've introduced into my work, and I go to time and time again. Now I do EFT tapping in the Akashic Records, which I feel just enhances it even more with the guidance from our higher self spirit team, being in that higher frequency. This can also be, I bring this up in every video, our nature walks, our ocean swims, just connecting with Mother Earth, but doing something to ground, come back, breath work, also incredible if you're feeling overwhelmed. But the main goal here is we're calibrating to a new energy, because again, things are not slowing down. If anything, they're speeding up in the second half of the year, but it may feel like we got a grip on it a little bit more. We're finally getting a sense of how to work with the fire and air element, the year of the fire horse. So back to the Barbo basket here, we've had Uranus at this 4 degree mark of Gemini, and we have Neptune here at the 4 degree mark of Aries. And the year started so strong too, with Neptune and Saturn by February having moved into the sign of Aries, really kicking off this new chapter and this new timeline for us. And know that when we start a new chapter, that often means we don't have all the answers yet. We are just getting clear around where we want to go next. We're just beginning to calibrate to this new identity, this new way of showing up. That's huge with this, Neptune and Saturn here. And just speaking of identity and self-image, with the South Node in Leo, we're letting go of a lot of attachments to who we once were, that old version of us, and really looking at kind of what I feel even intuitively from this, and guidance I've received from the records is we're coming home to more of our true self than ever before. It's like we're more able to see through the illusion, the veil, the conditioning, and connect to like our authentic truth and expression. So that's a beautiful part of what I see unfolding, honestly, even beyond this nodal axis shift, but really kicked off in this energy. And we have Pluto over here also at the 4 degree mark of Aquarius. So very significant that we're having the outer planets in their respective signs at 4 degrees aspecting one another. The other planet that's a part of this that has slightly, moved on now at 5 degrees at the time of the 27th of July is Jupiter here at the 5 degree mark of Leo, but still very significant with these aspects it's making and that opposition here to Pluto. It's a lot of energy moving through us right now. And to, just kind of bring this back to the nodes, how we direct this energy is key for what happens next and what we are creating. So continue to lean into this North Node in Aquarius and look at what is my role this time in my community, in my business to foster more harmony and unity and bringing people together. And how can I embrace what makes me unique and what may seem unconventional? And I mean, that's like to me, none of this seems unconventional. Astrology, the Akashic Records, Reiki, numerology, like to me, that's not unconventional, but I know that's the world that I've been in. Maybe to mainstream, it still is in some ways, but I guess what's unconventional is a very personal thing anyway, that very much could differ depending who you ask. But we're here to embrace what we feel, what the thing about you that you felt like, oh, that I have to change this, or it's too much, or it's not enough, is actually one of your greatest gifts. And this transit here is inviting you to embrace that and look at how you can use that gift. You can use your expression, your knowledge, your wisdom to contribute to the planet because you absolutely matter, and what you do matters, and each of us have a different role to play within that. So that's what I will say as we wrap up. So more coming around this as I do a video on the Aquarius full moon, which will be quite significant as well because it'll be happening after this nodal shift takes place. So we're in the early phase of starting to calibrate to these new energies. And I will share as well, I have my birthday specials open until the end of the month. So if you're curious about your astrology as you listen to all of this, and you're also curious of how this time of powerful transformation with these outer planets are interacting with your personal chart and what that means for what you are here to contribute, what that means for the elevation of your mission. I know many people have come into my world right now saying they feel like their business is shifting, it's elevating, that it's time to change certain courses that they're offering, their messaging, their branding, and they're just feeling this call into something more, a new expression. And astrology can be a beautiful, extremely helpful guide. And I love helping my clients look at the astrology, their unique blueprint, what's happening collectively, and apply it to their goals. It's not a passive thing. It's like, how do we work with this to create the experiences you desire? Because you come coded to thrive, but let's decode it and let's apply it so you have the results that you want in your business and that are of the highest good for all and that feel really nourishing for you in that process. So I'll attach that link below the video or in the show notes if you're on the podcast. And thank you for being here. Much more coming in the future on these energies. Just sending you so, so much love. And I will see you very soon. Bye for now.